I want to briefly introduce our next speaker. Fikiri Nzoyisenga, as you can read in his bio, is a Young African Leaders Initiative Fellow and is co-founder of an organization, the Youth Coalition to End Gender-Based Violence in Burundi. But I just also wanted to mention, as many of you know, right now in Burundi, there has been a lot of political upheaval. So it's a testament to how committed he is to gender equality and being at the summit. He had to navigate some very tricky situations in order to even be here today. So I really ask you to give a very warm welcome to our friend Fikiri.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor and privilege for me to be here with you. But first of all, I would like to thank the U.S. State Department, IREX, FHI 360, Women Thrive, Elise Young for everything they did to allow me to be here with you today. My name is Fikiri Nzoyisenga. I'm the founder and executive director of Semerera, which is a youth-led organization that is advocating for gender equality in Burundi. Over the past 2 years, we built a strong network of young volunteers, men and women, who are serving in 8 communities in rural areas in Burundi and helping directly more than 300 women and girls to empower themselves. Our goal is to enable both men and women to be active champions of gender equality in their communities. I've traveled thousands of miles to attend this important summit on gender. I come from a country where, despite the efforts of the government, women are still considered somehow as second-class citizens. A country where women cannot even inherit from their parents. A country where thousands of girls are forced to leave school because of early pregnancies and early marriages. My own family understands this all too well because my younger sister became pregnant at the age of 13, and due to a government policy, she was never able to go back to school. As a result, she grew up illiterate and never got the skills to find a job and provide for her child. This really stunned me and made me want to do something about it. So I'm here today because I believe in gender equality, because I share the same vision of an inclusive society where women and men play an equal role in the overall development of our countries. I'm here because it is possible for men to advocate for the rights of women. And my presence here is proof of that. Yes, it is possible for young people like me to stand up and say no to all kinds of discrimination and violence against women. It is possible for men to recognize and respect the rights of women and treat them with dignity. So this is what I want to talk about today: how to engage men and boys in the fight to make gender equality a reality rather than just a slogan. Because we all know that gender equality nowadays is the popular rhetoric, because we hear about it in companies, in non-profit organizations, in public institutions, but concretely, we still have a long way to go. There are 2 important questions I'd like to answer today here. So the first question is, why is it important for men and boys to work on the empowerment of women and girls? And the second question I'd like to answer here is, how can men and boys be encouraged to concretely engage in the work of gender equality? Let's start with our first question. Why is it important for men and boys to work on the empowerment of women and girls? Personally, I believe there are many reasons why men and boys should work on the empowerment of women and girls. And here, I think that the first reason for me is that public policies and laws are not sufficient, are not enough. It means that citizens, women and men, need also to do something. And here I would like to remind that gender equality goes beyond an equal representation of women and men, because we know in many countries the government initiated the quota system to ensure equal representation of women and men. So, for example, it's the same in my only country, Burundi, because there is a system quota that provide power for both women and men. But we can't say that in my country we've achieved gender equality, because women are still victims of gender-based violence. Women are still victims of domestic violence, are still victims of rape. So this means that gender equality goes beyond a 50-50 representation. It requires recognizing and respecting the rights of women and girls as human rights, treating women and girls with dignity and giving them the possibility to realize their full potential for the benefit of their families, communities, and countries. So the second reason why I believe it is important for men and boys to work for the empowerment of women and girls is that even men will benefit from it, and not only men, but the whole country, the whole community, and also the whole world. So I think that this is very important. As Melan Verveer, the former US ambassador at large for global women's issues, said, when women progress, we all progress. Men, women, boys, and girls. And she added, no country can get ahead if it leaves half of its population behind. So when I say this, I remember a history of one of my neighbors in Burundi. He was named Nzoyisenga. This guy was a very successful businessman in Bujumbura. He was selling shoes in the central market of Burundi. And although his friends, wives, used to be part of small women's cooperatives, Nyandu's wife had to stay at home the whole day. Like many Burundians from rural areas, he believed that a woman doesn't have to earn an income. According to him, when a woman is earning money, she will easily scorn her husband and will never respect him. Moreover, he was earning a lot of money to satisfy all her needs. But one night in January 2013, the central market of Bujumbura was destroyed by fire. The merchants lost everything. Nyandwi was devastated. His friends also lost everything, but they could rely on their wives, who were owners of small income generating activities, thanks to loans from their cooperatives. Indebted and without resources, Nyandwi was no longer able to provide for his family and 3 children. He abandoned them and fled to a neighboring country. His wife resorted to prostitution to make a living. This example shows that in defending women's rights, men are actually preserving their own dignity. And this is very important because the research has shown that, has demonstrated that for every dollar a woman earns, she will invest 80 cents in her family compared to 30 cents by men. So this should be enough an argument to support equal socio-economic and political opportunities for women. So the other reason why men should also try to work on the empowerment of women and girls is that, as we all know, men also are many times perpetrators of abuses against women. So it means that men are actually part of the problem. If we have problem in gender issues, if we have problem in rape, it means that men are playing a major role in those problems. So it means that if men are part of the problem, they should also be part of the solution. Our second question is how can men be encouraged to concretely take action toward gender equality? To be able to answer this question, we first need to look at what is holding men back from doing this, especially in developing countries. For example, in my country, it is not easy really in my country for a man to advocate, to defend, and respect the rights of women. So, for example, our culture attitude in Burundi claims that women cannot succeed, that women should just give birth, take care of the children, and do household chores. And from their tender age, children grow up with this in mind. And it is seen in the different ways boys and girls are raised. I myself grew up in a family of 3 boys and 1 girl. My brothers and I grew up playing soccer, playing with cars, going to school and not having to do many chores. Meanwhile, my sister, who was younger than us, was given only dolls to play with and had to do all the household chores with my mother, fetching water from 3 kilometers, doing the laundry, cooking the food. This was not a very equal way of raising children. And these stereotypes continued. These stereotypes and gender roles were reinforced in schools, where certain subjects or courses were considered only right for boys and others only for girls. It is no surprise, therefore, there are certain careers in my country today only open to men, while household and care responsibilities are still considered women's work. So how can men be encouraged to concretely take action toward gender equality? First of all, re-educating boys and girls is absolutely necessary and possible with the involvement of parents. As we saw, our early education determines most of the time how men will treat women when they are adults and how women will behave when confronted with certain situations. So raising awareness of parents in many patriarchal societies is therefore critical. Parents need to understand that boys and girls are the same, and that what a woman can do, what a man can do. They must consequently treat them and educate them in the same way and give them the same opportunities to attend school. This will help both girls and boys grow up with a respect for one another. Secondly, we need also to challenge gender stereotypes that only see real men like doing certain things and not others. It is here important to show good examples of men who are already engaged in fighting for the rights of women. It is important to emphasize the good work of men who are already engaged in women's empowerment. We need to publicly recognize and support these male champions. This will show others that it is possible for a man to advocate for the rights of women. I remember myself when I began my organization in Burundi. It was very tough for me because people were laughing at me. They were saying that I was crazy, that only gay men can defend women. For me, this was not obviously an insult, as I believe in everybody's right to be who they are. But it illustrates the kind of resistance that exists when it comes to men advocating for the rights of women in my country. It took time, but slowly people began to notice what I was doing. Many could see the improvement in the lives of the women we were working together. Some of these women were running small income generating activities. They were more aware of their rights, and they were able to provide for their families. So, to conclude, I think that everybody here understands why it is important for men to engage in restoring gender equality. We saw many reasons why they should. First of all, it's because they are part of the problem, so they should also be part of the solution. And there are many other reasons. It's also for their own benefit and for the benefits of our communities, of our countries, and of the whole world. We also saw why it is important and how we should encourage men to engage in restoring gender equality. It is importantly to re-educate, as someone said here during the panel, to try to change our culture, because most of the time our culture defines the way people behave and defines most of the time the way people treat one another. So before I finish, I want to make some recommendations that I think are crucial to gender equality work, not only in developing countries, in Africa, but elsewhere. My first recommendation is for donors and decision makers. I'm asking you to not let episodes of civil unrest and political instability alter your commitment to supporting and financing work on gender equality, especially with the male champions. The type of political instability currently taking place in Burundi is a multiplier of gender-based violence and poverty. This is why we need your help to keep good gender equality work going and to keep hope alive. My second recommendation goes to gender practitioners and implementers. We need help highlighting the positive examples of male gender champions. We need to identify them, train them, and invite them to every possible event or opportunity. We need to make gender equal empowerment a compelling and urgent call for male action. There is an old well-known African proverb that goes like this: if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So if we want to go far on the road to gender equality and poverty alleviation, then men and women, girls and boys must go along it together. Thank you.